what I thought I'd do is, before I talk about what we're doing now, I'll give you all a bit of an idea of where Firefoxes came from, and as a group of women, what we do. So as you can see there, it all began back in May 2009, which was just a couple of months after the big Black Saturday fires here across Victoria. And we realised fairly quickly that the bushfire recovery was being led by a lot of loud voices, which weren't necessarily women. So we wanted to find a way that we could create a safe space for women to come together, to connect and support each other, but always knowing that if we can support women in the community, then that flows on to the rest of the community. It flows on to the men, to the young people, etc. So Firefoxes came together basically as a support mechanism, was a support group for women across the Kinglake Ranges and Murrindindi Shire, which is the local government area that I live in. So Firefoxes is, as it says there, it's grandmothers, mothers, daughters, friends, and it's about creating space for women to come together, to encourage each other, to support each other in whatever it is that they're wanting to do. And we've had some great stories of women coming together and using co-design processes to create new micro businesses, to develop other groups. So basically the work we do is very much underpinned by ABCD, so asset-based community development. So we start with what we've got to work out what we need, and we just get stuff done. We work very much on a barter system with the stuff that we do. We have to pay very little, if anything, for things like guest speakers, all of those sorts of things. So over the years, we've run a whole lot of sessions, from dinners, regular monthly dinners for women to be able to come together. We've had various people from the business world come and speak to us. And we've supported other communities. So as it says there, we've supported more. It's actually more than that now. We're almost up to 10,000 women and families across Australia. So given the bushfires that we've just had over the last summer, groups that know about us or communities that have heard about Firefoxes will quite often contact us and say, can you share a little bit about your story, how you came together, what you've been doing over the 11 years, because quite a few people are really find it interesting that still 11 years on we're together. And everything that we've done has always been around building capacity of local people to be able to be self-determined about what they're wanting to do. So and as you can see there, we've hoped that's for those that are in Australia that know politics, that the bottom corner where I'm with three other people, the woman with the black glasses is Cathy McGowan, who was our federal MP for quite some time. And so we would even host, pollies and get them to share their vision for our community as well. So basically, Firefoxes have been around. Initially, we were very much about mental health and supporting mental health of communities. We've run women's leadership retreats. In the first couple of years after the gathering, after the bushfires, we would run face-to-face gatherings called Bush to Beach, where women from bushfire-affected regions all across Victoria would head to Lorne for a weekend just to be able to decompress, and we would have all sorts of, psychologists, we'd have guest speakers, we'd have all sorts of workshops that women could engage with or not. But it was really ultimately about providing connection and building social capital across our communities. So as you can see, we've done all sorts of crazy things from comedy nights, and the women that come to our events are across the spectrum from 18 to 80 basically. So given that we normally do face-to-face gatherings on a monthly basis, we have, as I said, a monthly dinner, and sometimes we have guest speakers. Sometimes we'll be looking at, the gifts, skills and abilities of the women within our groups. It was really important. We normally have a Christmas break, which we'd taken. We sort of came back in February for our February dinner, and then COVID came, and it was like, well, what are we going to do? We were in the planning of hosting our second annual Murrindindi Women's Forum, which is basically we hosted the first one 2 years ago. It's something we do now doing every 2 years to bring women together across our region to talk about what possibilities exist. So with all of that sort of shelved for the moment with COVID, we decided that Zoom was the next best thing. So, it was really important for us to continue to be able to support each other. And given that some people in the community were still struggling a bit, having seen what happened over the summer, the impacts of watching what had happened to us 11 years ago play out on TV over the summer was quite difficult for us, for some people to deal with. So we've now created and I actually haven't got any photos for you to share. This is a really old presentation, but we are hosting a Wednesday morning coffee and chat session, and then a Friday night. We're calling it Friday Night Follies, so it's cheese, wine, and hilarity basically. So it's basically just creating a Zoom space for women to come together, and we might have 3 women, we might have 13 women, we might have 30 women, but it's just that everybody knows that there's a space to come to. For example, I think I was telling Dee at yesterday's morning tea, one of the women arrived, and as soon as she got into the Zoom room and saw us all, just burst into tears. And we worked through some issues she was having with homeschooling and giving her some coaching for the call she was about to make to the school. But it's also about, being a bit, future focused as well. So in those conversations, we're checking in to see what people are up to, what ideas they're seeing emerge, what opportunities are coming out of this COVID space, so that we're ready to kick off again, and it's not a wasted time of sitting home and baking and cooking. That there's opportunities to tap into to the network. Even though we can't come face to face, we still want to make sure that there's a time and place where we can come together, and whether it's questions or promoting business ideas. One of our members is a yoga instructor, and she's now doing everything online. So it was about having the conversation about what she was doing. We gave her some tips around flipping her camera around so that she didn't look like she was upside down when she was doing her yoga, and then promoting that, helping her promote that out to the world. So we do a whole lot of things, but it's around really supporting that sort of glass half full way of being in the community. So it's about exploring all the possibilities that we can, fostering better connections and creating resilient communities, and also supporting other communities that have experienced disaster. And we've been, worked in communities, and I shouldn't say worked in communities, we've supported communities that have gone through, obviously, bushfires, floods, and cyclones, right across Australia, and supported other groups similar to Firefoxes come together and support their communities. So everything that we do is, we don't have core funding. It's all run by volunteers, and basically just to provide a safe space for women to come together. And that's my time. So I'm going to stop sharing and happy to answer any questions that any of you might